We're going to demonstrate a few things for you today for emergency life-saving procedures. And we will end up with inflating this life raft. This is an inflatable life raft. So to begin with, I would like to start out with that orange square. Who knows what that is? Dan.
Inland visual distress signal.
And where do you put it?
With your flares.
But how do you display it when you need help?
Oh, put it out. If you're thinking about an aircraft, put it up on top. If not, you're taking highest point you can do and wave it.
There you go. So what he's saying is true. When you are out with a lot of boats and you need assistance, you can hold this up. And the reason we're showing you this today is because nobody knows what this thing is. This is a distress signal. So you can hold it up, you can shake it, or if you're out in wide open water, you can put that on the bow or the roof of your boat. That way when an aircraft comes by, a helicopter or a fixed-wing aircraft, Larry, how slow does the 172 fly?
Oh shit. Probably
50 knots.
60 knots, yeah.
60 knots, 60 miles per hour. So he's got to be able to see that to know that you are the boat that needs the help. Because he can't slow down anymore. So you need to make yourself obvious. So that's an important thing for you to learn. The other thing I'd like to show you is a man overboard drill. I'm going to use this ice chest as our man overboard, and I'll show you a Type 4 throwable device, of which I actually have two Type 4 throwable devices. A seat cushion, which is my preference because they're comfortable. You can sit on them like a phone book, or you can put them against your back because the helm chairs in the boats never are put in the right place, so they're not very comfortable. So you need 2 or 3 of these to make it comfortable for you.
Hey, Chris.
Yes?
Should you have a rope on that?
Oh, yeah.
My answer is no. You're not required to have it. A commercial vessel is yes, but a pleasure boat, no, not required to have a rope on.
Right.
So there's my man overboard, that red ice chest. I've got a Type 4 life ring. They come in 3 sizes, 20, 24, and 30-inch diameter. I'm going to throw this life ring to that man overboard. Where should I throw it? On the right? On the left? Across his head? Or just this side? Take your pick. Where should I throw the life ring?
Over his head.
Where's the current coming
Upstream.
from?
Depends on the wind, depends on the current, so those are factors. So let's assume that we've got that factored into throwing the life ring. Where should I throw it? To the right, to the left, across, or this side? I've got 2 over the heads.
Over the head could hit him in the head, so that's not...
Well, the answer is not over the head. Because watch what I'm going to do. If I throw it across, now where's that man overboard going to swim?
Away from you.
Away from the boat. I don't want him to do that. I want to convince him to swim closer to me aboard the boat, because I'm the rescue boat, or I'm the boat that they fell off of. So what I want to do is throw it a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left, depending on the wind, depending on the current, so I don't bop them in the nose. So I'll just throw it up like that. That's about 5 feet away. Boom, boom, boom. They swim over to the life ring. They grab hold of the life ring. What did we do? We got them closer to the boat. That's terrific, isn't it? Here's the Type 4 seat cushion. You can read, it says Type 4 throwable device. The same thing that says. But these have got more use. First of all, with the ring or with the seat cushion aboard your boat, where would you put the ring or the seat cushion to be used in a safety emergency situation?
Really accessible.
Accessible?
I hang it from the steering wheel. That way it's right in front of me. It just stays there.
On what kind of boat do you have?
Pontoon.
So he's got a pontoon boat, so he's going to hang it on the steering wheel, the pedestal that holds the steering wheel.
Yep.
If you're on a bigger boat, say a flybridge cruiser, a sport fishing boat or a trawler or something like that, where would you put either of these on a bigger boat with the flybridge?
Upper helm.
Upper helm.
I sit on mine.
Most cruising people only have 2 people on the boat. And if one of those people falls overboard, the other person cannot leave the helm to go find the throwable device. So you want this accessible. Boom, boom, boom. So if anybody's been a lifeguard, taking lifeguard training when we were a little bit younger, you know, never take your eyes off of the victim. That way, if they disappear, you'll know where they were. So as soon as you leave to go find your throwable device, come back, they're gone. So you always want to keep your eye on the man overboard, and you want to have this readily accessible. So again, I can throw this to the right or to the left. They will swim close to that. They'll swim closer to the boat. Great idea. It's very simple. Question about a rope on your throwable device. Has anybody ever seen a lanyard or a recovery rope on a throwable device? Has anybody seen one hooked together? Tell me about it. Always wadded up, can't get it loose. That's called a bird's nest if you do any rod and reel fishing. So for that reason, I don't like them. But, and I don't sell any product, but you can buy this called a rescue throw rope. And a rescue throw rope is exactly what it says it is. Comes in a nice bag. It's a very nice rope. I call it puddling. When you put it in here, it puddles. It doesn't get into that big nasty bird's nest. You can actually open this up. You can snap this onto a handrail. You can snap it onto the pedestal for the steering system on the pontoon boat. You can hook it on the seat of the helm chair on the flybridge. And I'm right-handed. It uses the word dominant hand. I'm right-handed. So I'll pull this out. I'll put my wrist in it. But I'm going to throw it with my dominant hand, so I'm doing it backwards. Let me change it around. I'm going to put this on my left hand because my dominant hand is right. And think about bowling or cabbage ball or softball. Remember, my victim is that red ice chest over there. So now, where do I throw my throw rope? Over his head. Remember, all he's got to do is get a 5-inch wingspan to grab the rope. If I put the throwable device, the flotation device on this side, he'll swim closer to me. If I throw this across his head, he's got a 5-foot wingspan. He can grab the rope with his right hand or his left hand. Later on, you can practice with this, or other times at the Power Squadron, instead of doing cornhole for the barbecue, you can do this for the barbecue. And again, subliminally, you're training people how to save lives. So here I go. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Right there. How easy is that? Look at this rope. See how nice that rope is? So this is not going to be that ugly old nasty bird's nest that you had seen on other life rings. We doing okay on this so far? We'll pack that up later and you can play with it. I'm going to walk around with this life jacket, which is an inflatable life jacket. How many people have inflatable life jackets? Quite a bit of people. More than, say, 60%. I'm going to snap that closed. I'm going to walk around with this, and I'll show you a few things. A large CO2 cartridge that's got a thread. Another CO2 cartridge that has that black plastic adapter to it. We've got these white seltzer tablets that are used for automatic water activation. But wait, look here. Do you see 2 different size cartridges? You have to know what size cartridge fits your vest so you don't buy the wrong one. And see, I got oh wow over there. Okay. These are these seltzer tablets called bobbins, B-O-B-B-I-N. So this is what most of the water-activated PFDs use.
Thank you.
Okay. But we also have this other type that's a hydrostatic device. So if you've got a life jacket that has the bobbin in it, the seltzer tablet, and the life jacket is left to lay in the bilge of your dinghy, and it's got about 1 inch or 2 of water sloshing around, these things are going to get wet and inflate your life jacket. This has a sensor here. It's a hydrostatic sensor. It's a little pressure diaphragm. And this has to go underwater at least 4 inches underwater before that 4 inches of water pressure will actually inflate the life jacket. So these are good for professional mariners, commercial fishermen, tugboat, crew boat operators, or people that's just out there a lot. So we'll walk around and I'll let you look at all these things so you can just take a peek. Okay, so you can see everything. It's all different, all different, all different. And while I'm walking around, take a look at my inflatable life jacket and see if you notice anything in particular on it.
Pretty color.
I didn't pick it out.
I didn't either.
Okay, back up, back up, back up, back up. What did I hear?
You need a new cartridge
Why?
because it's red.
Okay, you caught it. Look at all these people, didn't catch it. See the window?
Should be green.
There's a red light in here. Not really a light, but a red flag. That means danger. That means this is not ready to be used. So that means that we need to take it apart, inspect it, maybe change the bobbin, the yellow bobbin, or change the CO2 cartridge. So that's good that you caught that. So you need to learn about your safety equipment because you want it to work when you need it to work. So this is very simple owner maintenance ideas, and I'll come back around and I'll open up this vest and I'll show you how it works. First of all, when you put these on, they should be loose and baggy, contrary to what you think. Should be loose and baggy. What happens when I inflate them? They get tight. So make sure they're baggy. So if you're on a boat with a his and hers life jacket, take your life jacket, put it on, inflate it orally, save the CO2 cartridge, and then adjust the straps, then deflate it, and then mark it yours or theirs. So that's one thing. You want these to be loose. If you put them on real tight and you inflate them, it will actually crush your chest and it's difficult to breathe. Aren't you glad you came today?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to look on my right side, and we've got a crowd, so I've got to keep on spinning around and spinning around.
Those two could teach this. Three could teach this.
Okay, this is upside down, but this is the lever for the ripcord. See the lever for the ripcord? That's the lever for the ripcord. And you can see there's no CO2 cartridge. Where my thumb is, that's where the CO2 cartridge is. Who has bought a brand new inflatable life jacket recently? Nobody. You have. Did you take the CO2 cartridge out of the pocket and install it in the detonator?
I took it out of the package, the plastic package, and screwed it in.
Okay, good.
Came
So,
separate.
a lot of people buy these and say, okay, I paid the money, I bought something, I'm going to be safe. You've got to learn how to use it, and you have to load it. You have to put the CO2 cartridge in there. When they come from the factory, brand new at the retail boat store, they're not installed. You have to install them yourself. This other piece is a big spring-loaded device. I'll unscrew it. You might hear the, there you go, the spring's coming loose. And there is the yellow bobbin. This is where the seltzer tablet, I use the word seltzer, think of Alka-Seltzer, plop, plop.
Fizz, fizz.
There you go. So when this fizzes and disintegrates, it will then activate the spring-loaded ripcord or the trigger lever, and it will fire the CO2 cartridge and inflate it. To change it, pull it off, look at it. You know what peaks and valleys are? Sharp peaks, sharp valleys, sharp valleys, sharp peaks. If they're rounded off, that means this thing's absorbing a lot of moisture and it should be replaced. If you don't replace it, you might have a little unplanned excitement when it inflates all by itself. So I'll put it back together. It's got some grooves. It's got some wide grooves and some skinny grooves. Just fit it in here and screw it back down. And you see this white piece of paper that's flopping around? That's your instruction paper right there. That's all of your instruction paper to learn how to put it back together. Of course, you would screw in or bayonet fit, that means goes in and twist a quarter turn, your CO2 cartridge. Put this all back together. We've got a safety whistle. This is Velcro closed.
Other one. There you go.
Velcro closed. And now if we fall overboard, when we hit the water, that seltzer tablet will dissolve and this will inflate. Also, we have the ripcord, so we've got the optional ripcord that we can pull it. There's no cartridge because you notice it's got the red flag, so that won't inflate. So now, we don't have a CO2 cartridge, we've fallen overboard. How will we make this thing become buoyant and save us and help us?
Blow it up.
Blow it up how?
Manually.
Where?
The other side.
The other side. And that's a great definition because some of these, the cartridges are on the right and the hose is on the left. Other ones, the cartridges are on the left and the hose is on the right. So you can see my cartridges here on the right. So I'll take this and I'll rip open the Velcro. And there's the hose. So now you can orally inflate this and it'll be inflated enough to give you the proper amount of buoyancy. You'll also see it's got the reflective tape for aircraft. Safety of Life at Sea, SOLAS, has the reflective tape. And then you've got the life jacket that will float you face up, head up, like a regular life jacket, like a Type 1 or Type 2 PFD. In fact, this is a Type 2. Is that more than you wanted to know?
No, good.
Okay, good.
Chris,
Yes,
how long does it take that seltzer tablet to activate?
seconds.
Seconds?
Seconds. Now you saw that other vest that I had on. This is more of a
This one's mine, so it's
This
not
is
going to fit
Elisa's
him.
jacket. This is more of a competitive type of inflatable PFD for sailboaters. Do you know what a grinder is on a sailboat? The guy that's doing all this work, watch my shoulders, doing all that work. So you want to have a narrow, thin profile inflatable life jacket. And do you see that ripcord hanging down, flopping around? Where's the ripcord?
Up high.
See it over here?
This is the only downside to it. It's made for right-handers.
Yeah, but you can adjust. Here's the ripcord. You would grab it with your right hand across, jerk it down. Right hand across, jerk it down. So this is good. You don't have that dangerous yellow T-handle flopping around down there at your waist. You've got it right here. And this is great if you're doing rod and reel fishing, if you're doing kayaking, if you're doing any type of boating activity where you need your shoulders to be free.
I'm going to tell you, this is so much more comfortable than the one that looked like suspenders. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive, but like they say with Revlon, you're worth it.
Well, they say Estee Lauder. That's my company.
And this brand is called Spin Lock, S-P-I-N Lock, Spin Lock. And this is made for low profile, more busy in the shoulders, paddling, grinding on sailboats, things like that. Gives you a lot more mobility. Let me set this aside. Now we're coming up to the reason we're here, the life raft. How many people have been on boats with life rafts? A few. How many people have been on cruise ships? Did you attend the lifeboat drill? Okay, first question is, who's the first person that goes into the life rafts?
The crew?
I'm getting all kinds of answers. I did hear crew, so not all of the crew, but the first person to go into a life raft should be the most capable person, because you've got a captain of the ship, you've got to have a manager of the life raft. So they've got to know what's in the life raft, they've got to know how to pull people into the life raft, they've got to know what to do in the life raft. So you see Hollywood talking about women and children first. Not always the case. The most capable person goes in first. Now, life rafts come in two type of containers. They'll come in this box, fiberglass box, which we call a clam shell. There you go. It looks like two halves. It's a clam shell. Usually the clam shell is out on deck, where if the boat should sink down, the life raft would float up. Make sense? But if you're out in the boat in rough weather, how would you keep that life raft from bouncing off the boat into the water? You need to strap it down. So now we've done two things. We put a life raft on a boat, but we've strapped it down where it won't work. So they put this exploder on here. This is a hydrostatic release. People call it a hockey puck. And you can see here on my left, we've got the yellow part, and on the black on the right, and that's what holds it down. And when this boat that this is connected to goes underwater, this hydrostatic release will explode and release the straps that hold the life raft secured to the boat. So these have dates on them, and they need to be checked and replaced. Life rafts have dates on them. They need to be removed and inspected at a life raft recertification agency. So this is the clamshell. The other type of life raft container is called a valise, which means suitcase. So you can have a soft-sided suitcase with the life raft in it, but generally that's kept indoors in the boat when you're not on the boat. But when you go to the boat and you want to go out cruising, take it out. Won't do you any good in the cabin. Take it out. Now, how do you prevent the life raft from floating away if the boat sinks?
Tether on it.
Tethered to where? There's a yellow clue right there.
A cleat.
A cleat. Tied onto a cleat on the boat, or if you've got a professional installation, they will have a hard point that the life raft will be secured to. If you've got a valise, you take it out and you tie it onto the cleat. Do not tie it to the handrail. Might jerk the handrail off. Tie it to the cleat. So I'm going to tie this painter, and if anybody remembers some of the old terminology of boating, this is a painter, which might be a bow line on a dinghy. So I'll take the painter and I'll tie a proper knot here.
You got 6 minutes left on this.
Okay, so we've got the proper knot tied there, and now we're going to manually inflate the life raft. So I need to ask you guys to stand back because it's going to open right and left. Okay, watch this. Want to pull, 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 pull. Remember the ripcord on the life jacket? This is the same thing. Pull, 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 pull. How much rope is in here? A lot. But if you owned this thing, you should know that. About 60 feet. Okay, here we go. Y'all ready? Of you. It's got an inflatable arch. And how does the first person leave the mothership to get into the life raft?
You want to take this out from under?
I'm in, and then I'll just wiggle around and get inside the front door right here.
You got this box still underneath your butt.
Okay, that's all right. So we'll get inside the box. Remember, if you jump in the water,
you're wet and cold.
And the life raft, you might float away from the life raft.
Hold on, we got problems.